Ooh, what's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Popcast. I, of course, am DK Wrestler.
And I am MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, it's a podcast we do every single year as terms of the channel. That is, of course, the Wishlist Pod. It's our top 10 wish list for Funko Pops we want to see in the next year. So in this case, it's 2024. And funny enough, this is actually technically the second time this year that we're actually doing a Wishlist Pod, because our first podcast of 2023 was the 2023 wish list. But we thought with the podcast we're going to be doing in January that we would actually give you this pod early in the month of December instead of giving it to you guys in January. But nonetheless, of course, usually how we do these wish list pod, of course, first we will actually go through the last couple of years wish list and see if any of them actually came true before we actually get into the 10 pops or pop sets that we want to see in 2024. So you ready, MD?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right to it.
All right, so I guess how we'll do this, obviously, so 2 years ago was 2022 in this case, and I'll go through my list and basically explain whether they have come true or not. So for my 2022 list, I first wrote Robots, which features a wave featuring Rodney Copperbottom, Fender Pinwheeler, Herb Copperbottom, a 6-inch Big Well, and Phineas T. Ratchet, which unfortunately that didn't come true, although that would be awesome because they would translate into pop form very well. Buzz Lightyear of Star Command that features Buzz Lightyear, XR, Mira, Nova, and a 6-inch booster Munch Chapper. This one I wish happened, and I did this, I remember, because the Lightyear movie was coming out, so I thought maybe they would do that, but they did do a Lightyear set of pops. They didn't really sell all that well, but nonetheless, this would be a set of pops that would be great to see in the near future. A Metallica Masters of Puppets Pop Deluxe albums that features James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, Lars Ulrich, and Cliff Burton. Partially right, because it wasn't a deluxe albums, it was the concert moments, the pop deluxe moments that they did for the Masters of Puppets tour, and I was glad that that happened, and it actually arrived at Walmart here in Canada, and I was able to pick one up, so I'm glad to have that into the collection. Then I wrote Pop Deluxe covers, which basically would be the covers, except it has multiple characters like they did with like the deluxe albums. None of that has happened yet. That'd actually be a cool idea, and I'm surprised they haven't done that yet. Then I wrote a set of pops of Brooklyn Nine-Nine that features Jake Peralta, Amy Santiago, Charles Boyle, Raymond Holt, Terry Jeffords, Gina Linetti, Rosa Diaz, a Scully and Hitchcock 2-pack, and Doug Judy, which surprisingly that hasn't happened yet, although it is in the pipeline at the moment that we are supposed to be getting a set of Brooklyn Nine-Nine pops, so maybe we will finally get that when it comes to the year of 2024. Then I wrote down the Spiderwick Chronicles that features a Jared and Simon 2-pack, Arthur Spiderwick, and Thimbletack Hog Squeal. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened, and I don't know the likeliness of that happening, but it would be a cool set of pops to see if it's only those four. Then Sam Raimi Spider-Man pops that features Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Mary Jane Watson, Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, and the Human Spider versus Bonesaw. I guess it would be in-ring moments. Technically, it's happened because of the No Way Home set. We got the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. We did get Green Goblin, but none of the characters haven't actually been made. I wrote down a NHL Through the Ages multi-pack. This was based off of when they did the like Mickey Mouse Through the Ages pops or whatever, where it featured different Toronto Maple Leafs players with different years of jerseys, but unfortunately that hasn't happened. Herbie the Love Bug Pop Rides. Unfortunately, that has not happened yet, and I actually forgot I put that on the list. And then a set of Superstore pops that features Jonah, Amy, Dina, Glenn, and Garrett, which that still hasn't happened yet, and it would have been perfect to make it in 2022 since I believe that was the finale of Superstore on Netflix, so that would have been cool. But as terms to MD's 2022 wish list, and once I name these off, he'll answer if they've been made, blah, 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 you know the drift. So first off, for 2022, you had wrote Nicholas Backstrom.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't got a Nicholas Backstrom pop, and we haven't really gotten many NHL pops recently at all, so not surprised. And now he's looking like he's done playing hockey, so I don't know if we will end up getting one, but we'll see.
A set of AEW pops that features Chris Jericho, Jurassic Express 2-pack, MJF, and Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do not have AEW pops, and it looks like we probably never will, but wishful thinking.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which features the Grinch, Baby Grinch, Schoolboy Grinch, Cindy Lou Who, the Grinch Disguise, and the Mayor.
Yeah, still no Grinch pops of that sense, only the other Grinch pops that we've seen. But with the rumors of the second movie coming up, there's a potential that we might get some, maybe maybe next year or the year after that. Who knows?
A set of Simpsons pops that features Dr. Hibbert, Nelson, Principal Skinner, Santa's Little Helper, and Snowball 5 2-pack, and a Homer with Car pop rides.
So still no pop rides for the Homer with Car, but we did get Nelson Muntz. So partially right there by getting one of those right.
A new wave of Fraggle Rock pops that features Junior, McGorge, Pa Gorge, Doc, Madam Trashy with rats.
We still don't have any new Fraggle Rock pops, and that is criminal. I would love to see some.
New set of retro toys pops that features Teddy Ruxpin, Raggedy Ann and Andy, Chatter Telephone, and Shredder for the retro toys sense of TMNT.
Yeah, so still none of these, which is very surprising. I think that all of these are perfect candidates for the retro toys lineup, but we still haven't got them.
And one of MD's favorite lineups to collect, probably his favorite actually, now as I think about it, Ad Icons, Charmin Bears, Taco Bell Dog, and the Laughing Cow.
Yeah, none of these either, which is very surprising, but we have seen some pretty cool Ad Icons, so I guess that's all right.
A set of Lamb Chop pops that features Lamb Chop, Charlie Horse, Hush Puppy, Buster the Bus pop rides, and Sherry Lewis.
Yeah, still haven't seen any Lamb Chop pops, but that would be really cool to see in the upcoming year.
All right, this next one, I haven't done this impression in a while, so let's see if I can pull this off right now. A new set of Jingle All the Way pops featuring Booster, Giant Santa, Jamie, and the Turbo Man Floats moments.
Yeah, we've only gotten the pops for Jingle All the Way that we've seen so far, and at this point, I don't know how likely it is that we will get another wave, but that would be really cool.
And then last but not least, for 2022 that MD wrote down, it's Barney's and Friends pops, which features Barney, BJ, and Baby Bop.
Yeah, no Barney pops yet, but that would be really cool. I'd be stoked to see that.
And then revisiting what we wrote for last year's wish list, or technically, yeah, you guys get our drift. Like, it was done earlier this year, but it was meant for this year in 2023. So I put down a new wave of The Office that features Asian Jim, Dwight Schrute as Jim Halpert, Robert California, Lady Gaga Gabe, Nurse Angela, Oscar as Rational Consumer, a Jim and Pam as Popeye and Olive Oil 2-pack, and Michael as Daryl, which we did get a new wave of The Office pops. It was all right, but none of the pops I listed here came true, and that was a little bit sad, especially not even seeing Gabe. A new set of WWE pops that features Cody Rhodes, the Usos 2-pack, Sami Zayn, Lita, Natalia, a Kane versus Undertaker in-ring moments, and an American Badass Undertaker pop rides. So partially that was true because we did get the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, and I believe in 2024, because we seen the little thing at Toy Fair, we are going to get Cody Rhodes with his torn pec with the hammer as a pop, which is absolutely amazing. And then we did get the Usos in a 2-pack, which is really awesome. Finally, they were immortalized, but unfortunately, the other ones haven't happened yet. A Bark at the Moon pop albums from Ozzy Osbourne, which did happen, or at least it's been announced, and it's flocked, which is absolutely amazing. And then we got ourselves a Linkin Park Meteora pop albums, which unfortunately that did not happen. It's weird because the last 2 years prior, we did get Linkin Park pop albums with the Hybrid Theory and then Reanimation. So I'm really surprised they didn't continue the trend of Linkin Park albums, especially Meteora, which is a very popular album. And then I wrote down a Green Day Woodstock 1994 Pop Deluxe Moments, and no, that hasn't happened. It is very likely for it to be this upcoming year in 2024 because it will be the 30th anniversary of Dookie. So I would love for there to be even more Green Day pops to be made in 2024, especially with their new album Saviors coming out on January 19th. Not a plug for an advertisement. I just thought I'd mention that. Then a wave of Finding Nemo pops that feature Nemo, Dory, a Marlin Pop VHS covers Nigel, Gil, Chum and Anchor 2-pack, and Darla. Known Finding Nemo pops, very surprising. It was the, I believe, 20th anniversary of the movie, which is why I put that on the list, and they didn't make any pops. A wave of Elf pops that features a 6-inch Buddy the Elf in School Desk, Walter Hobbs, Buddy doing the splits moments, Miles Finch, and a Walter and Buddy 2-pack. None of that has happened. I mean, we did get technically the NFT pops released in physical form this year, but none of what I said came true, and I'm surprised they didn't really capitalize on the Elf lineup besides the one pop maybe for the Warner Brothers 100 lineup where they did do the like snowflake made out of paper that they did as a Funko Shop exclusive. A set of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide pops that features Ned Bigby, Cookie with P. Cookie Chase, Jennifer Mosley, Coconut Head, Seth Powers, and Elisa Zemo, with the chase being obviously, I think it's her sick as the common, and then her when she's like actually attractive as the chase. No, we haven't gotten that. And also a little bit surprising since they do have the Nickelodeon license, and they recently had the NES Declassified podcast survival guide recently released. So surprised that there's no hype involved with that, or at least no hype from Funko to do that because of that happening. That would be amazing if one day we do get pops for that, because I would buy the entire set, not gonna lie. And then pop pay-per-view posters, examples I had would be No Mercy 2007 with Randy Orton holding the dub, Judgment Day 2008 with Triple H in the orange jumpsuit, and WrestleMania 18 with Hollywood Hulk Hogan with The Rock, and then WrestleMania 10 with Razor Ramon holding the IC titles. Technically, this is a thing because they have the WWE cover, so based off of the pay-per-views, but not in the vision that I was thinking of. We've been seeing like the Hogan one, and like there was two Hogan ones actually, Hogan and Mr. T for WrestleMania 1, and it was separate, and then Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant for WrestleMania 3. And I wish it was both pops in the one so that you didn't have to buy different covers for the same pay-per-view. And then last but not least, Small Soldiers, which features all of the Gorgonites, the Commando Elites, Allen, and then a Major Chip Hazard and Archer. I think I just put it as a 2-pack, even though that is technically either part of the Gorgonites or the Commando Elite. But Small Soldiers, once again, it's in my like top 10 wish list since I started collecting Funko Pops, and it still hasn't been checked off yet. So who knows? Maybe 2024, maybe 2025. And then for MD's 2023 wish list, it starts off with Earthworm Jim.
No Earthworm Jim yet.
Parappa the Rapper.
We also have not seen Parappa the Rapper, but we have seen some PlayStation Pops in the past, so I feel like this could happen at some point.
A set of Kim Possible Pops that features Kim Possible, Raw Unstoppable, Rufus, Wade, Shigo with Glow in the Dark Chase, and Dr. Draken.
No Kim Possible Pops yet. This is definitely a set that I think would do very, very well, so I'm surprised that Funko hasn't capitalized on this yet.
Something that a lot of people have been wanting for years. It's an Ed, and Eddie 3-pack for Cartoon Network.
Yeah, still no Ed, and Eddie 3-pack. And when I was kind of preparing my list for today's pod, I seen a lot of people on the internet, on like Reddit and stuff, saying like an Ed, and Eddie 3-pack would be amazing. But yeah, still haven't got it. But maybe one day, because there are a ton of the Cartoon Network Pops at this point.
A new wave of Arthur Pops that features Buster, Binky, Brain, Muffy, Francine, and Mr. Ratburn.
No new Arthur Pops. It really sucks. We still only have the 2 pops of Arthur and DW. So I don't know. I would love to see more though.
A Young Gravy and Baby No Money 2-pack.
Yeah, I think this one would be really cool. We have not seen it yet, unfortunately, though. So maybe one day. I wouldn't be surprised. They do have quite a bit of hype throughout the internet, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do get a 2-pack or even singular pops.
That 70s Show featuring Eric Foreman, Donna, Kelso, Fez, Red and Kitty 2-pack, and Eric with Vista Cruiser.
This sucks because this is definitely in my top 10 of like wants for Funko Pops, and we haven't got it. Surprisingly, even with that 90s show being out, we didn't see any pops for that either.
We got some new ad icons listed here, which we got Chef Boyardee, Billy Bob, the Geico Gecko, Pud, and Bic Boy.
So technically we did get the Geico Gecko, but not in the sense that I wanted. I want to see a normal Geico Gecko, not the Geico Ween ones, which are still pretty cool, but it's not what I wanted.
And last but not least, for 2023 is Bob the Builder, featuring Bob the Builder, Scoop, Dizzy, Rolly, Muck, Spud, Wendy, and Farmer Pickles.
I think this could be a really great set, but unfortunately we have not seen any Bob the Builder pops.
All right, so now here we are, the wish list for next year in 2024.
All right, so with the new set of the Muppets Christmas Carol, I had to put Muppets Pops on here. I've been wanting to see new Muppet Pops for years, and it's nice that we got the Christmas Carol Pops, but I want to see some plain old Muppet Show Pops for some characters that we have not seen in the OG wave that we got way back in the day. So the Pops that I listed are Ralph the Dog. I think that would be really cool. I feel like it could also have a chase where he's wearing like the tuxedo rather than just being, let's say, naked. Then a 2-pack of Statler and Waldorf. I think that would be awesome. We did see them as the Marley brothers in the Christmas Carol set, but I would like to see just them normally. Maybe they could even be like more of deluxe pops where they're sitting on chairs. Then I have Scooter. I think that he would be a great character that makes sense to be in the Muppets wave. And then a 2-pack of Beaker as well as Dr. Bunsen Honeydew. I think that would be great. 2 2-packs and 2 singular pops I feel like is is a good way to round out the Muppets set, and then we could just get like exclusives from then on.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I would love to see regular Muppets Pops again, especially with that. And maybe we will see Waldor and Staffler regular versions this time.
So the second wave of pops that I have on my list is for King of the Hill. I'm surprised we haven't seen any King of the Hill pops. We've seen, of course, Futurama. We've seen Family Guy, Simpsons. We've seen a bunch of shows similar to King of the Hill. Rick and Morty, I guess you can kind of group in there as well. So King of the Hill would make a lot of sense. They are renewed for 2 new seasons, I believe. So it's been a while since we've seen new King of the Hill stuff. So I think that we probably will get Funko Pops. And the wave that I went with is only 6 pops. I think you really only need 6, and then maybe you could get some con exclusives, but honestly I don't really know if it's necessary. So the 6 pops that I have listed are Hank, Dale, Boomhauer, Bill, Peggy, and Bobby. I think that these would do very, very well. I think that they could potentially do a 4-pack where you do have Hank, Dale, Boomhauer, and Bill, kind of like how you see them in the intro where they're standing by the fence. I think that that could be a really good idea to have a 4-pack. That way, if you don't want to buy the singular pops, you can get them in a 4-pack and just a one-time purchase kind of thing. But then, of course, with Peggy, I think it kind of makes sense to give her a pop. And then Bobby, I think, would easily be the most purchased pop out of this wave. Everyone loves Bobby. He's kind of that meme character. So yeah, I think that Bobby's a really good idea. I think that would sell like crazy.
Dang, Bobby. Propane. Yeah, King of the Hill is a great idea. And I believe, didn't they just recently have new seasons or are coming out with new seasons?
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they didn't really capitalize on that when they've done shows similar to that in the past.
So the next wave of pops that I have is for the Canadian TV series, The Big Comfy Couch. I think this would be awesome. There's a lot of really cool pops that could be potentially done with this. And this wave, in my opinion, should at least have Lunette with Molly. So it's a pop and buddy. You don't need to give Molly her own pop. It could just be a pop and buddy with Lunette. Major Bedhead, I think that this pop would be really hilarious. You could have him be like just a singular pop, or you could kind of have it like a Pop Rides, but it'd be more of like a Pop Deluxe where he is on the unicycle. I think that would be really cool. Granny Garbanzo with Snickle Fritz, so another pop and buddy part of this wave. I think that would be really great. A flocked 2-pack of the Dust Bunnies. I think that would be so cool. And they pretty much already look like Funko Pops the way that their eyes are anyway, so it would translate very, very well. And that is the same thing for the last set of pops in this, which would be the Foley Family 3-pack. And I think that this one could probably be a con exclusive, being a 3-pack and all. But again, their eyes just being black dots, essentially, I think that it would work out to be in pop form very, very well. And definitely a set that I would buy everything for.
Yeah, Big Comfy Couch. I remember watching that. It would be cool to have a deluxe of her doing like the clock, on the carpet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that would be awesome.
The next set is a set that I believe we've talked about a little bit on the podcast years ago, but not recently. And this is another Disney franchise that I think is well deserving of pops, and I think they would sell really, really well. And that's for Recess. I mean, how could you not have Recess pops? I mean, it's one of those animated shows that everyone loved. I don't think anyone really hated Recess. And I have a common wave of pops, and then I have pops that I think would be done as con exclusives. The common wave is just the normal gang. You got TJ, Gus, Mikey, Spinelli, Gretchen, and Vince. I think that that is the perfect way to do the wave. Just get all of the characters out of the way right there. And then for the con exclusives, that's when you can start introducing characters like Randall, King Bob, Miss Finster, Principal Prickly. There's so much that Funko could do with a set of Recess pops. I'm surprised that we haven't seen any at all.
Literally, as you were talking about that, I had the theme song just like stuck in my head. Do, 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 do.
So the next pop on my list is Ad Icons, and I went with one that I haven't ever talked about on the channel before, I don't believe, and that's the Velasic Stark from, obviously, Velasic Pickles. I think that that one would be really cool. It's one that I seem to always forget about when I'm looking up different ad icons that could be done, and I think it's one that would be great. Of course, you could have the Stark himself. He's got the mailbag I think he wears, and then he's got glasses, and then you could have him with a pickle in his hand. I think that that's a perfect way to get this pop done.
Velasic Pickles. This is so random. But yeah, I mean, obscure ad icons, that is down MD Shady's route. And imagine a scented pickle.
I was kind of thinking about that.
A scented pickle ad icon.
So the next set of pops I have here is for SpongeBob, and I don't think that this could be like a common wave because I feel like these pops are too good to be part of a common set. I think that these would all pretty much be con exclusives throughout the year of 2024. So those pops that I have listed are Larry the Lobster. I can't believe we haven't seen a Larry the Lobster pop yet. A glow in the dark Flying Dutchman. This one is one that people want to see very, very bad. And me being one of those people, I think that a glow in the dark Flying Dutchman would look so good because he is a green character. You could have kind of a little bit of different shades of green on this pop that would just make the glow look so great. I'm surprised that we haven't seen this yet. Then the next one is a little bit more obscure with Patchy the Pirate. I think his name's like Polly the Parrot. I feel like you could add him in with this. This would be an awesome one. Of course, Tom Kenny being the voice actor for SpongeBob and also playing Patchy the Pirate. So I think that this would be a really cool pop. And then lastly, I have a 2-pack, and that is of, I believe her name is Mary, as well as Baby Prunes. If you don't know who these characters are, they're basically the two older ladies, the mom and the daughter, in the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick are selling the chocolate, where, of course, with the older lady, she's like, chocolate! I remember when they first invented chocolate.
Yeah, new SpongeBob pops that aren't just SpongeBob or Patrick. That would be great. And if anything, I would like to see SpongeBob pops, but I would like to see SpongeBob NFT pops for 2024. I think that'd be cool. People like What's Poppin' Craze has been asking that since NFTs have started. So who knows, with the Nickelodeon license and SpongeBob obviously being a popular enough lineup to get their own set, I mean, that would be cool. But nonetheless, seeing some new SpongeBob pops would be really cool.
The next pop that I have on my list is actually a pop albums, and that is for Mac Miller's Swimming. I think that this one would be really great. It is an album that does feature Mac Miller on the cover, and it's super iconic for his albums. So I think it'd be really cool. Of course, you have the album in the background, and then you could just simply have the pop of Mac Miller where he's wearing the pink suit, I believe it is, and he's sitting down against the doorway, I believe is what's going on with that. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I think that that would look so cool with him sitting down. And I guess you could kind of have it like the Biggie Smalls pop albums where, of course, it was a baby there, but he was sitting down. So it'd be kind of similar to that, except maybe have the legs kind of spread out a little bit more like you see on the album cover.
So I have no idea about this album because I don't listen to Mac Miller, but nonetheless, I mean, new Rocks pops would be cool instead of getting the 14th Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas pop.
Then the next pop that I have on my list is for The Simpsons. I can't make a wish list without not adding The Simpsons, one of my favorite sets to collect. So I just have a 2-pack for The Simpsons, and that is Rod and Todd Flanders. We've seen a couple different versions of Ned Flanders at this point. You got the normal Ned Flanders, you got Stupid Sexy Flanders, the Devil Flanders. I might be missing one, but there's been multiple Ned Flanders. So let's see his kids in pop form, and it might as well be a 2-pack.
Of course, it can't be a wish list without MD mentioning some Simpsons pops, and who knows, maybe those will come out this year. And I believe, I don't remember them releasing any regular Simpsons pops in 2023. It was just Trios of Horrors. So, I mean, let's get back to the regular Simpsons route, especially because the Simpsons will celebrate their, I believe, is it 35th anniversary milestone for the Simpsons in 2024.
Speaking of other sets that I love to collect, I did add a pop for the Looney Tunes lineup, probably a con pop. I don't really see them doing many common pops anymore, so it would make sense to be a con pop, and that's Penelope Pussycat. I think this pop would pair very well with the Pepe Le Pew that most people, I feel like, have in their collection if they do collect the Looney Tunes pops. Unfortunately, I don't have it in my collection yet, but I think that Penelope Pussycat would be a good pairing for that one and a good addition to the Looney Tunes lineup.
Yeah, I don't remember who that character is, but yeah, new Looney Tunes pop. Let's go.
So now for the final pop for my wish list. This one is a little bit different. Of course, I have talked about like Funko making YouTube stars in the past, but I think that this one just makes the most amount of sense, especially with what's kind of going on with this YouTube star, and that's Top Pops. I feel like it's kind of time where he deserves a Funko Pop. Of course, we have seen different products for him from YouTube's, but it just makes sense for Funko. He is kind of being more recognized by Funko nowadays, where he's been kind of doing doing some work with them. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't think you necessarily need to make like a wave of pops for him where you can have some of the other people featured in his videos or some of his family members, but at least to start just a normal Top Pops pop. And I feel like it would sell very well because I feel like most people that collect Funko Pops are kind of just a fan of Top Pops.
Yeah, it's always been a mystery of like, why hasn't Tristan gotten his own Funko Pop yet? And especially at this point, I mean, back when we were all wanting pops of him, he was only at like 150,000 subscribers. The guy's at over 2 million subscribers at this point. So, I mean, with that big of a following, I mean, that's kind of something to take notice now that maybe they should make a Top Pops pop, even if it's like a limited piece count. It's not like Funko hasn't already done employees before, like Brian Mariotti and Mike Becker into a Funko Pop. So yeah, who knows? 2024 could be the year of a Top Pops Funko Pop. The first one I wrote down is actually one I had written down after we had done our Disney podcast, and that is a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids Funko Pop set. And I will mention that for the most part, I actually wanted to go the route that Funko claims that they want to go in the future, and that is a lean startup where they have not too many pops per wave. So the most that I put down is, I believe, 6 for all of my things, but there are some that are 4, there are some that are 5, and then I think this set is actually 6, where I put Wayne Selinsky, which obviously is Rick Moranis, all 4 of the kids, and then just for the heck of it, because I feel like people would want it, is the big ant that they ride in the grass there. I think that would be a solid 6 pops. You don't need the neighbors, parents, and you don't really need the mom. I think that's like a solid 6 pops that, like, if that was the end of the set, I'd be perfectly content.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. As soon as you mentioned it, I was like, oh, the ant in a pop rides, that would definitely be really cool. So yeah, I like that. And it is kind of narrowed down to 6 pops that make sense. And you don't really need more than that.
The next one that I had put down is a brand new set of Fortnite pops. We did get the new ones this year and they were all right, but I felt there were some that would like really spice up the lineup and I think it would be really, really awesome. So first one I wrote down is Lieutenant John Llama. I think that was a really cool skin in Fortnite and think that that would be pretty popular as terms to a Funko Pop. One that I've been wanting them to make is Peely Bone, which is obviously Peely, where it's half skeleton. And I think they know how to perfect a skeleton head in pop form at this point. So making it as terms to a Funko Pop would be awesome. It would be really cool if they like had the posing, like if you had the what's called the Xylobone, I believe, emote where he's playing like the xylophone with his rib cage. So I think that'd be pretty cool. I mentioned this in a recent Fortnite video we did, is the glow in the dark sour gumbo. We got the regular one, but this would be perfect if we get somehow Emerald City Comic Con exclusives in 2024, which I don't know the likeliness of it since we haven't had any since I believe 2021, if I'm not mistaken. And then one that I put here is a 3-pack, and I believe the proper name for it is Knights of the Food Court, which is featuring Tomato Head, which is my favorite skin, the Taco Girl, which I forgot her name, and then I believe it is Beef Boss, which is the burger guy, and they're all dressed up in like a knight outfit, and this was like, you could buy this 3-pack of skins on the item shop. It wasn't like, it was an item shop thing, but like you had to purchase it instead of like buying it with V-Bucks. But nonetheless, that would be cool as a, like, the first ever multi-pack that isn't that stupid mashup they did with Street Fighter. And then I put down here, because I thought this would be a pretty cool way to spice up the lineup, is make do-it-yourself Fortnite pops. It sounds dumb, but it's actually a great idea, especially when you want those certain variants of different skins, and then it gives people the opportunity to just paint their own versions, like the amount of different Skull Troopers that there have been, or just the different Cuddle Team leaders. You can now do that with a do-it-yourself version, and I think that's just a great idea. And then last but not least, and this is something that I feel like is such a missed opportunity, and I don't know how they haven't done this yet, a Battle Bus Pop Rides. And I think the perfect character to go with this is Jonesy, because Jonesy is the main character of Fortnite when it comes to like the Save the World story, or throughout the Fortnite series, he is like the main character. So I'm surprised they never made a Jonesy pop at all, and doing the Battle Bus, that would be absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea for more Fortnite pops. We have seen a couple over the last year, but not enough, in my opinion, especially with the kind of resurgence of Fortnite. And some of those ideas are definitely really good. I definitely thought you were going to say like a pop towns for Fortnite, because there's been so many iconic buildings over the years, of course. But a pop rides of the Battle Bus is a great great idea. And the do-it-yourself pops is definitely a really good idea as well. So Funko doesn't have to continue making a bunch of variations of the same characters when you could just make it yourself by buying this pop, and then they possibly have a way to sell said pop multiple times to a single person.
Next pop that I have, and it is just one singular pop for an already existing lineup, and it's for Pokemon, and it's Machamp. I feel like Machamp would be a really cool pop. We need to start seeing more of those Gen 1 Pokemon again, instead of, like, I get people were wanting Pokemon pops from different gens, but when literally you're only getting one Gen 1 pop per wave, it's just like, especially when you're introducing other gens that no one really even cares about either. Like, don't get me wrong, there was some cool, like, non-Gen 1 Pokemon pops. Like, I think the most recent one maybe was like Apom, and that was basically it. Like, the others are like, we didn't really need that before this. Like, we haven't even gotten Gengar yet, and MD's been wanting that for years. And Machamp would be really cool because it's like the only Pokemon pop that I feel I would need in my collection. I think 2 out of 3 has been fulfilled, which is Charizard and Meowth. And then my other one I've been wanting is Machamp. So I thought, you know what? Machamp is cool. He's got like the pro wrestler vibe with the belt. So, I mean, Machamp would be really awesome.
Yeah, I definitely think Machamp would be a great one to see in 2023. And again, like, mostly just sticking to Gen 1. Get a lot of that over and done with, because yeah, we don't really need a lot of the other gens right now. I hope Funko really decides to kind of fill out the rest of Gen 1, especially when there's still a lot of heavy hitter pops, like you said, with Machamp, Gengar, the legendary birds. There's a lot of different stuff that they haven't done yet. So hopefully they do stuff like that this year.
All right, so the next set that I have is for another Disney movie that doesn't really get talked about as a Disney movie because it doesn't look like it's a Disney movie. We talked about it on our Disney podcast a few months back, and that's Meet the Robinsons, which I believe I brought this up as terms to, I think it was either 2020 or 2021's wish list, if I'm not mistaken. So it was one that was like, I had said before. But this, once again, I'm going down the route of the lean startup that Funko mentions by only mentioning technically 4 or 5 in this case, because one has a chase. The 4 to 5 pops I have: Lewis, obviously main character; Wilbur Robinson, the bowler hat guy, which is the antagonist, with a chase of him when he was younger, because obviously we know in the movie that when he was younger, he was actually roommates with Lewis. And then Grandpa Bud. I mean, Grandpa Bud is one of those memorable characters in the Robinson household that I just feel like, once again, it's that case of, if you're only going to get this many and that's it, like, those are the perfect characters to make for a Meet the Robinson set.
Yeah, I'm really surprised we haven't seen Meet the Robinsons at this point. I mean, it's a well-loved Disney movie, so it just doesn't really make sense that we haven't got the pops, and I could definitely see it happening.
Next, I have some ad icons, and I just specifically wrote Pepsi, because where the heck are Pepsi merchandise when it comes to Funko? We know that it kind of exists in the Funko world because we've gotten the Little Sweet Pop with Dr. Pepper, and we've gotten it with the NASCAR Pop, and I forget who the driver is, but Mountain Dew. It's a Pepsi product. So I just wrote Pepsi because I didn't want to go the route of just saying Pepsi Man, because I've been saying Pepsi Man for years, but I feel even at this point, if we get a stupid Foodies Pop of a freaking can with eyes and legs, and it's Pepsi, and you can do Diet Pepsi and Pepsi Zero, I'll buy them all. I don't even care. I just want some sort of Pepsi merchandise when it comes to Funko at this point.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see more Pepsi products. I was super stoked when the Little Sweet came out because Dr. Pepper is basically my favorite soda of all time. So I would love to see Pepsi Man. I think that would be a hilarious pop. So hopefully we do get some Pepsi stuff. Obviously, it seems like they do have the rights to a lot of it, so why not use it?
Now I have Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So basically, I wrote either Wendell or the Crazy Squares, just because Wendell could be used for a potential new Ad Icons NFT set, which would be cool because I want something very refreshing instead of seeing a Warner Brothers license for the NFT set. And I mean, if you're doing those retro Ad Icons, that'd kind of be the perfect one. But then seeing like a multi-pack of the Crazy Squares would be cool, like the same way they did the Fry Kids, because we know how thin the Crazy Squares are. To make one of them and then sell them for like the $17 Canadian it is for a common pop, or 20 for an exclusive, just doesn't seem right. So making it like as small as the Fry Kids and doing like even like a 3-pack but selling it at the price of a normal pop would definitely make sense, and I would definitely cop it up because Cinnamon Toast Crunch is my favorite cereal of all time.
Yeah, I'd be super down to see either one of those pops. I think the 2-pack makes sense, even though I despise the sideways box. I feel like that's kind of the way to go about making those pops. And I think it's just a matter of time. I mean, they're really cool and they've been kind of around a bit now where we've seen them with like the like little figures that you could get in the cereal. So I wouldn't be surprised if Funko does do that. And it could definitely be within the next year.
The next set of pops I have are a brand new wave of NHL mascot pops. We've seen quite a bit of mascot pops the last couple of years after that, where we've seen the NFL mascots, NCAA, we've seen NBA mascots, and then the closest thing I think we got to mascots this year was those stupid Santa Claus pops exclusive to Fanatics, where there was just him wearing the jersey of every single NFL team. And that's what I don't want with this lineup. And I feel like that's going to bite me in the ass when I say that, because who knows? There could be an NHL pop I'm forced to get where it's Santa Claus wearing a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey, which I don't want to have to, but I might have to at the same time. NHL mascots, there's still an untapped potential because all the mascots look really cool. I mean, for any sports teams, a lot of the mascots are cool. The first wave was pretty decent with like Carlton the Bear and all the other different ones that they did, but the ones that I feel like have really cool designs, or for teams that are like really popular that I think they should do, first one, Iceberg, which is the Pittsburgh Penguins mascot. Slapshot the Eagle from MD's favorite team, the Washington Capitals. SJ Sharkey from the San Jose Sharks. Wild Wing from the Anaheim Ducks, which would have an amazing head sculpt added to it. Hunter, I believe the name of the mascot for Edmonton Oilers. And then I put Bernie the St. Bernard from Colorado Avalanche, mainly because they have been doing a lot of Colorado pops as of late with like Nathan McKinnon. So, I mean, continuing on with that, especially with a pop like that where maybe it could be flocked also, there's probably more mascots that I could think of. But once again, lean startup, so not too many pops I want to list down.
Yeah, I would love to see more NHL mascots. I think that those pops are really cool. And they are like some of the only pops that I have in my collection where it's like, okay, I don't collect pops for the Montreal Canadiens, but I have the Yuppie pop in my collection. Or like, I don't collect the Flyers, but I have Gritty in my collection. So it would be really cool to see more of the mascots. And I'd probably buy quite a few of them, especially Slapshot the Eagle, because that is a huge want for my collection.
The next set of pops I have is a second wave of a set of pops that came out in 2023, and it's been on MD's and I's wish list for a while when they finally made the first wave. That is Trailer Park Boys. I think with the 3 pops they did, it's kind of not enough, but that's an example of lean startup that should happen, where it was the main 3 characters and they all sold very well, because I don't remember a store where I actually seen the pops sitting on the shelves waiting for people to buy. So you know that it's selling well when you can't really find it in store. And I don't remember the last time I actually really seen them at conventions. So that's also something. This one is a pretty decently big wave, but it's just examples for the most part of pops I would like to see rather than what I think would happen realistically. And I think once again, it may be 6 pops, it may be 7. I'm not exactly sure of what I wrote down, but some things that I would like to see. First off is a Bubbles and Ricky 2-pack in their hockey jerseys, the Sunnyvale hockey jerseys. One's wearing the A and one's wearing the C, I believe. Ricky with his car as a pop rides, and you can do Ricky basically the same molding as the original one, but you would do like the blue shirt that he wears. I think that'd be ideal. And I think like every time I've seen him drive that car, I had to put the Green Bastard from Parts Unknown. I mean, if you're going to make a Bubbles variant besides the one I mentioned in the 2-pack, it's got to be the Green Bastard from Parts Unknown. I mean, that would be absolutely amazing. And then the ideal new characters that need to be made next have to be Mr. Leahy and Randy, whether it is a 2-pack of them or it's separate pops, maybe with chases also. Like you can do like Mr. Leahy, like drunken self, and then like young Mr. Leahy from like some of the flashbacks. And then maybe with Randy, you can even have like Randy himself. It would be funny if it was flocked because of his hairy chest, but then maybe he has like a mustard stain or something stupid but hilarious at the same time for the chase.
Yeah, I think those are all really great ideas. I am desperate for some more Trailer Park Boys pops. The 3 is definitely not enough, though it was so great to finally get them. I just feel like I need more. Leahy and Randy would be great. I think that a great chase version of Randy would be like, you just have normal Randy, of course, with his shirt off. Flocked, like you said, would be the funniest thing in the world. And then the chase, you just have him with his pants around his ankles. I think that that would be perfect because he's always taking off his pants when he's trying to fight, like, let's say, Bubbles or Ricky.
The next set of pops I have is one I mentioned, I believe, in the very first Wishlist pod that we had done, and that is a set of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I mean, we had the Disney 100 set come out this year in 2023. We've seen some of those Disney Channel shows and movies like High School Musical, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, and Lizzie McGuire, but Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, something that was so crazy popular back in the day, was never made into the pop form, but I'm kind of glad because it's potential of them actually having their own box and saying Sweet Life of Zack and Cody or Sweet Life on Deck instead of just a Disney 100 logo as seen with the pops this year. So once again, I kind of kept it very simple, and yes, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. I almost wanted to go the on deck route also, but do Zack and Cody first, then maybe down the line, Sweet Life on deck. But of course, Zack and Cody, and then maybe a 2-pack of them, and then Mr. Mosby and London Tipton. That's all I wrote. I mean, you could have Maddie. You could have, like I mentioned on that podcast, Esteban with his full-on name on the box would be hilarious, but just core 4 pops, Zack, Cody, Mr. Mosby, London.
Yeah, I debated putting this on my list, but I figured that you would have it on your list. And this makes a lot of sense to me to start off with Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. And then it could kind of be like The Simpsons, where every once in a while you get like a wave of Sweet Life on Deck pops. I think that would be perfect. And of course, yeah, you could have characters like Arwen and you can have Carrie. There's so many different characters that you could put in there. But for the inaugural set, definitely Zack and Cody, London, Mr. Mosby. That just kind of makes the most amount of sense to me. But I would definitely like to see this do well and then be able to get Sweet Life on Deck pops as well. That would be an ideal situation.
And then the last set of pops I have here is something that people have been requesting for a while. And I don't remember if you've mentioned it on like the previous wish list from like before 2022, but I feel like it's something that may actually come out in 2024 because of new episodes coming out. Phineas and Ferb pops. And once again, I went down the route of, I basically only listed 4 to 5 pops because I feel, even though I know the set would do excellent, in case it somehow doesn't because of Funko mass producing almost every single Funko Pop nowadays, I have Phineas, Ferb, Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and then Perry the Platypus with the chase. And of course, you know how that's going to go. Regular Perry, and then Perry with the hat as terms to the chase. Maybe also make it Flock too, but to make it a little more oomph. But nonetheless, I mean, that's once again, that's got to be the core 4/5, including the chase for a first set of Phineas and Ferb pops.
Yeah, this is another set that I debated on putting on my list, especially with, again, new episodes coming out, which is great. And yeah, that makes sense to me to have Phineas and Ferb and Doofenshmirtz and Perry, and the chase version makes so much sense. And then we can get more characters down the road, like Candace, of course, maybe get the parents. But the core 4 there for that set just makes so much sense. And I know that those would sell like hotcakes. It would go so fast. It would be hard to find those on the shelves at stores, I think.
Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this edition of a Funko Podcast. And if you enjoyed this wish list edition of a Funko Podcast, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you want to see Funko make in the year of 2024. And we hope to see you guys on another edition of a Funko Podcast. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here. A platypus? Carry the platypus?
Peace in, peace out.